You wake up, grab your phone and check the balance at 7:42 a.m. Paycheck landed 2 days ago. Numbers look steady. You feel like you're on top of things. Then the morning routine kicks in. Corner cafe, the usual latte plus that almond croissant you tell yourself is basically breakfast. $7 and change. Tap done. Mid-morning meeting runs long. Vending machine protein bar because you skipped real lunch. Another $5. Tap again. Afternoon scroll on the couch. An ad for noise-cancelling earbuds. 20% off for the next 40 minutes. Yours are fine. They work. But the color you like is right there. Cart. Checkout. $38 gone before you stand up. Evening hits. You're tired. Quick delivery order for just a few things. Sushi roll, sparkling water, that fancy chocolate you don't need. $42. Confirmation email pings while you're still deciding what to watch. You close the apps. Tell yourself it was nothing. 4 small decisions, maybe $100 total. Here's the part that stings. Those 4 buys cost more than your monthly phone bill. And tomorrow the cycle repeats. Not because you're reckless, because the entire economy is engineered so the cycle never stops. This isn't about giant splurges or bad budgeting. It's about the invisible daily tax, the small, unnecessary purchases that feel harmless in the moment but add up to thousands every year. And in 2026, that tax is heavier than ever. Fresh data makes it impossible to ignore. Recent consumer surveys show the average person is spending between $300 and $318 every single month on impulse buys alone. That's roughly 12 unplanned purchases a month. Average ticket around $25 to $30 each. Annual total? North of $3,600 for most people. Some months it creeps closer to $4,000. 40% of everything bought online is pure impulse. Not researched, not planned, just happened. Gen Z is making nearly double the average number of these buys, 74 impulse purchases a year versus the overall average of 42. Millennials sit right behind them at 71. And the kicker? 59% of Americans say they want to cut back on these small daily purchases this year. 45% openly admit impulse spending has already derailed their financial goals. Meanwhile, more than half report higher financial stress than last year. Why does this hit harder right now? Because the cost of everything else, rent, groceries, insurance, kept climbing even after inflation cooled. Wages didn't quite keep pace for most, yet the little treats stayed cheap, the ads got smarter, and the checkout process got so frictionless it barely registers as spending. Digital wallets are everywhere. One-tap checkout is standard. Buy now, pay later options pop up like suggestions from a helpful friend. Push notifications from shopping apps know exactly when your willpower is lowest. That's not motivational poster math. That's compound interest doing the quiet work it's famous for. The same force that turns modest savings into real wealth. If it isn't constantly leaking away on things you'll forget you own in 6 weeks. Even half that amount, the classic $5 daily habit, still compounds to $27,000 in 10 years and $224,000 in 30. Enough to cover a serious emergency fund, kill off credit card debt, or fund a real sabbatical someday. Yet the system keeps the numbers hidden. It wants you thinking about the immediate pleasure, the warm cup, the new gadget glow, not the future version of you staring at a thinner retirement account. Contrast that with the story we're constantly sold. Hustle culture influencers preach financial freedom, while their sponsored posts quietly encourage the exact spending that guarantees you'll never reach it. Apps track your budget and then send personalized discounts on the categories where you're already bleeding. Minimalism gurus film from minimalist apartments filled with brand new gear they just had to have. Social media turns every scroll into a shopping runway. Look at this drop. This unboxing, this self-care haul. The hype says small treats are harmless. The data says they're the slow leak that keeps entire generations treading water. 40% of e-commerce revenue rides on impulse. Trillions in global retail depend on you clicking buy now before the rational brain catches up. The economy doesn't just tolerate this behavior, it quietly celebrates it. Zoom out and the stakes sharpen. When millions of people lose $3,000 to $4,000 a year to these invisible purchases, the effects compound at a societal level too. Homeownership gets pushed further into the future. Retirement savings stay anemic. Debt lingers longer because the margin for extra payments keeps shrinking. Stress climbs, not from one big crisis, but from the constant low-level knowledge that your wallet is a little lighter than it should be. You see it in the generational numbers. Younger buyers already facing higher housing costs and student debt are the most active impulse spenders. The wealth gap widens not just between high earners and everyone else, but between the quiet minority who noticed the pattern early and everyone still telling themselves, it's only $10. And the irony lands like a punchline nobody laughs at. We roll our eyes at lottery tickets as a stupid tax, yet we happily pay a much larger, more consistent, stupid tax every single day. The only difference is the lottery ticket comes with a dream. The daily buy comes with next-day regret and a thinner future. The system counts on exactly that, on the fact that the purchases feel too small to matter in the moment and the consequences feel too far away to hurt. So the story circles back to you, checking your balance tomorrow morning. Those unnecessary purchases aren't really about the latte or the earbuds or the late-night delivery. They're hundreds of tiny choices we make without realizing we're choosing. Each one a vote between a small, immediate reward and a much larger, quieter one that shows up years later in the form of options, security, freedom. The machine is built to keep the vote easy. The question it never wants you to ask is simple. How many more mornings will you wake up, see the balance, and still tell yourself today's small buys don't count? Because the math doesn't lie. The statement will arrive eventually, and when it does, it won't feel small at all.